All right, boys, your thoughts on the sale of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. We'll start with the sharp-dressed member of this Brother Act. Goes, what do you think?
Well, you know, the sale was crazy, man. We all kind of knew it was coming, but there's a lot of uncertainty because there's new owners. We still retain Dana White as president, but the thing that kept this company going, in my opinion, is the fire. These are combat sports guys, Lorenzo, Frank, Dana. They loved combat sports, and a lot of what they did was based on passion. Are the new owners going to have passion? That's what worries me.
It's business as usual. I mean, the fight cards are scheduled. Things are happening. Big fights just took place, so I haven't noticed a change one bit.
We know what the phrase business as usual means in mixed martial arts, Buzzito.
Oh, yeah. We know what that means.
I've heard that before.
And what do you guys think is the global impact of the UFC?
The UFC is massive, you know, and it's, I mean, these guys break new grounds all the time. And, you know, Europe has been blowing up, the UK, in front of our own eyes. I think the next frontier is Asia. So I think this purchase is centered a lot around getting into China and conquering Asia next.
You got to be a little worried, though, if you invested over $4 billion and you find out that your biggest star, John Jones, you can't use him. Now Brock Lesnar. It's like buying Nike and then telling you, guess what? You can't sell Jordans for 2 years. That's a little rough to take at the beginning, don't you think, guys?
You're right. There is a huge risk. And I'm wondering, though, if you guys can look in your cracked crystal ball, and what do you think will change?
Well, supposedly what they're saying is fighter pay is going to get better and opportunities outside of the octagon are going to get better. They mentioned actually movie roles for some of the top names. So those are a few that stand out to me.
There's definitely going to be a lot of changes coming. You don't put that much money into a company and not want to make changes, not want to give your viewpoints on everything. So expect changes here.
You guys already mentioned his name, Brock Lesnar. What do you think about this situation with him?
Look, we don't have enough details yet because all we know is that he's been flagged for a doping allegation. So now it's got to go through its process if he wants to get his B sample tested, if he's going to go through an appeals process, or if he just accepts his punishment, which is pretty severe nowadays. It's 2 years and I believe 33% for first-time offenders. So we just got to let these facts play out, first of all.
And the morbidly obese combat sports injury bug continues to feast. For my money, from horn to horn in any given fight, Demetrius Johnson, the UFC champion, is the pound-for-pound best, and yet he is now off of his next title defense against Wilson Reis. Reis is staying on the card because, let's face it, he needs the money, and I'm sure, as you mentioned, that's going to be something that the new owners will have to contend with. But what about Demetrius Johnson going down to injury and the impact it will have at UFC 201? Because he's not known as the biggest ticket seller or needle mover, and yet he's one of the best in the game.
Yeah, the show always seems to go on with Demetrius Johnson. He's one of those guys that to us is always seen invincible. Nothing ever happens to the guy. This might not be the worst of things, though, because really what that division needs is time. Time to develop new guys. And any time you can buy in that division, I think is pretty good. Hopefully, Demetrius can be right back and stronger than ever because that's the heart that he has.
Demetrius has wiped out the division. Wilson Reis, I think, comes in with a one-fight winning streak. So in reality, I don't think much is missed. I don't even think much is missed at the gate. I mean, Woodley and Robbie Lawler are what's going to sell that fight card. But Demetrius Johnson has been very durable. He once fought with a broken leg against Miguel Torres. That was about 3-4 years ago. So you can't question his heart, his character. The guy's tough.
Let's move up a little bit in weight class. What about that bantamweight division? There's a lot of stuff going on. Lineker just beat McDonald. What do you guys think of it?
Well, you got a dominant champion in Dominic Cruz. I mean, granted, he's been away, but still, the run that he's had has been incredible. Next up, it looks like TJ Dillashaw wants to position himself in there. But John Lineker just had a great win, and he's putting people out. He's got power at 135 pounds. This guy came up from 125 pounds, for crying out loud, and he hits about as hard as some of the guys at 170, 185. So that guy's an exciting prospect. So is Cody Garbrandt, who's undefeated. You also have Brian Caraway, who's slowly just making strides. He's getting some wins. He knocked out Aljamain Sterling, who was undefeated, going into their fight about a month ago. So I know he's throwing his hat into the ring. And then lastly, How about this wild card? Frankie Edgar. You know, he wanted to be a 3-division champion. He just lost his chance to be an interim champion at 145 pounds. But we all know this guy doesn't walk around at about more than $155 or so. So he can easily drop to 135, and at any moment that guy sells. I could see Frankie Edgar maybe involving himself in the mix too.
Do you guys think Dominic Cruz should get first dibs at 145 if he chooses to move up?
I think if he does choose to move up, we always see with the fighters that are a little bit older in their careers, once they make that move up, it's pretty much for good. So if he is going to make that move, he really needs to think about it and make sure that's what he wants to do. If he does, I think he's got the size, he's got the type of matchups in that division that can create a lot of great fights. I think it would be a good move, to be honest.
Yeah, and in my opinion, I think DJ could move up to 35 because he's cleared out his division. Dominic hasn't cleared out his division. Just right now, it's getting exciting. I think he's got matchups waiting for him. And Max Holloway was right to stake that claim because he's got that 8-fight win streak. He's looked great. I think he's got next. Dominic, I like what he's doing. He's kind of feeling out the process, dipping his toe in that water. He wants to be involved in the big paydays, in the super fights. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do believe he stands behind Max Holloway, and then, of course, Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo. You never know if Jose can right that ship, make things even. You got to play out that trilogy match, too.